I know. All right, so we are live. We've got a couple people on. Hi, everyone. Welcome. We are so excited to have you join us today. We're going to give it a few more minutes for everyone to get signed on, but stand by and we'll get started shortly. Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to get started in a few minutes, so just hang tight and we will let a few more people get signed on before we let Mackenzie take it away. Thanks for being here. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome again. We're going to give it another minute or two for folks to get signed on and get ready to roll. We've got a great presentation today, so hang tight and we will get started with you all shortly. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Kristen, and I will be your host today. Welcome to today's presentation of How to Leave a Legacy and Trust the Process with Mackenzie Beldon of Beldon Roofing, brought to you in part by LEAP. We are so excited to have you guys here today, and we are absolutely thrilled to have Mackenzie on with us. So to get started, we actually would love to know from our audience members, how many of you all are currently working for a family-owned business? So I'm going to launch a poll. You guys will see it right in front of you. So we'd love to know if you are working for a family-owned business, to what extent are you with a family-owned business? Are you working for a family business? Are you working for your family business? You own it. We've got already quite a mix here. About 50% of you work for a family-owned business. We've got a few that work for your own family's business, which is great. That's exactly what Mackenzie can speak to today. And a fair share of you who also own your family business. That's fantastic. I think you guys are really going to love to hear what Mackenzie has to say today. So with that said, I am thrilled to have our speaker, Mackenzie, with us. She is the director of Roof Extend with Beldon Roofing Company. And since entering the family business as fourth generation 3 years ago, Mackenzie has handled business development across the Texas market. And working alongside her grandfather and father, Mackenzie is carrying on the Beldon tradition of providing excellent customer service and quality. So welcome, Mackenzie. We are so excited to have you here.
Thank you, Kristen. I'm so excited to be here.
So everyone, you guys do have the opportunity for questions throughout. You can use the Q&A box or the chat box. I'll be monitoring that throughout, and we'll get to your questions at the end. Otherwise, Mackenzie, take it away. We are so excited to hear what you have to share with us today.
Thanks, Kristen. Good afternoon, everyone. So Kristen briefly introduced me. I'm Mackenzie Beldon, and I am fourth generation at Beldon Roofing. With the Beldon Roofing Company. We're headquartered in San Antonio, Texas, and we have been in business since 1946. Since I'm not sure if many of y'all are familiar with Beldon Roofing, I wanted to provide a brief company background. So Beldon was started by my great-grandfather in 1946. He had traveled through San Antonio while he was serving in General Patton's staff during World War II. And he decided that he felt there was a need for a roofing company in San Antonio. So he relocated his family from Boston to Texas after the war, and he opened up Beldon Roofing. So we've been in business for over 76 years. On the bottom left, you can see a picture of my parents, who are currently third generation owners. And the bottom right are my grandparents, who were second generation owners. I entered the family business as fourth generation 3 years ago. Thank you, Kristen, for introducing that before. And I work out of our DFW market. I joined the business as a business development rep for the Texas region, and it has been a wonderful experience. When I joined the family business, it's a funny story because working with family is an interesting dynamic. And I am very, very lucky in that my family business has been nothing but an excellent experience for me. So when I joined the family business, I had no interest in joining the family business. Let me start with that. I graduated college. I had been pre-health during school. I did business and got pre-health certificate. I had plans to go to medical school, and I got to my senior year in college and I decided that this just wasn't for me. I did not want to go to medical school anymore. I wanted to venture into consulting, do something more on the business side. Again, no interest in joining the family business at this point. So I followed my older sister, who had graduated from UT, to Dallas. I found a consulting job in Dallas, and I was working there for about a year when my dad called me and he said, Mackenzie, I think you should come join our family business. We need somebody in our Dallas office. You love working with people. You have such a consultant mentality. I mean, I could talk for days, but it's usually about myself, not about roofing. And so when he asked me to join the company, I said, thank you so much, but I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I'm really not interested in joining at this point. And then my grandfather called me and he asked me to join the company. He said, this is so up your alley. You don't have to know anything about roofing. It will come naturally to you. You are a people person, and it will all work out for you. So when your grandfather calls, you say yes. Sorry, Dad. I've enjoyed working with my dad as well as a result. But I joined the family business back in 2019, and I've been out of our DFW office. And during that time, I mean, I have learned so much in the past 3 years, especially given the current environment. This webinar, working virtually with our customers as well, has been a drastic change in the roofing industry during this time. And that's something that I want to touch on later. But I kind of want to give you guys a background about how I got into the roofing industry to begin with. So being a family-owned business, as many of you work in family-owned businesses or you own your own business, I started working at the company when I was 12. I definitely complained way too much to my mom during the summer about how bored I was. And my dad said, "That's great. We need somebody to come work with us at Beldon anyways." So my older sister and I worked there from when we were 12 until we left for high school. This was before the FLSA changed the working age legally to 14. So this was during a fine time, and it really opened my eyes to what our business was about. I did everything. Brittany, my older sister, and I were able to touch everything and really learn a lot about the business and how Beldon functions as a whole during this time. So I was calling on customers during this time. I was working in the service department. I was scanning legal documents. I was a 12-year-old calling our residential customers and booking appointments for our sales reps. And at this point, we were working on what I'm going to call the digital revolution at Beldon. This was when people were becoming more familiar with Google and using Outlook, calendar, and things like that such to book appointments versus our old call center had been using agenda books. So when I started at the company during the summer, the first summer that I was working there, I was calling on residential customers, and one of our sales reps came and he brought me his agenda book, a copy of his agenda book that he had made in the copier. And he said, "Okay, when you make my appointments, just fill them out like this and then bring it to me at the end of every week and I'll know who I'm seeing in the next week." And as a 12-year-old who was doing everything on their phone and online, that was shocking to me. I couldn't think of, I'd never had a calendar book. And so that kind of spurred our digital revolution at Beldon. At that point, we realized that we needed to train our guys to use Google and Outlook and things like that, because it would drastically change the way we do business. And I'm very, very lucky that my dad and his father are pioneers in being innovative and really leading that digital revolution for us. So I briefly want to touch on the Beldon Legacy as well. We've had over 76 years of success in the San Antonio market. We work in 45 states and Puerto Rico. And the reason that we're able to do that is because of our employees and our team. We have had over 76 employees with over 20 years of service. This is the first thing that you see when you walk into our office in San Antonio. It's a plaque honoring the people who have worked with us for over 20 years. And even more so, we've had over 31 employees with over 30 years of service. And we've gone ahead and added that on these plaques as well, to honor them and thank them for what they've given to our company. I think there's a lot to be said about working for a family business. And I think that we've been very lucky at Beldon that we've been able to uphold what it feels like to work for a family business in that kind of culture. That's very important to us. Every member of our team is a part of the Beldon family. And that's what we work towards every day. There's a quote that I heard recently that reminded me a lot of my dad, my grandfather, and my great-grandfather. And it is, what if you invest in your employees and they leave? But what if you don't and they stay? This is really integral to what Beldon is about in our culture. Every morning we begin our day with a catch-up call and we discuss what we did yesterday and what we can do today to make yesterday better and what we can improve upon for tomorrow. And every morning, my dad, who's on these calls, asks if there's anything that he can do to make our employees' jobs and lives easier. And I think that really encompasses what is being said about investing in your employees, because when you invest in your employees, they really give back to the company. And that's why we've been able to continue our legacy for the past 76 years. And we hope to continue to do that as well. I will add, I'm sorry to make this a little bit about myself again, but this plaque, I would have had a few more years of tenure had I not received an email back in 2017 that I had been terminated from the family business. We were going, as a part of our digital revolution, we started inputting our HR paperwork, and I was I was in college. I just received an email one day that I'd been terminated. Well, I hadn't worked for the family business for a few years at that point. So it's funny. I like to say that I was fired from the business at one point. It was unintentional. I wasn't actually let go, but it does mean that I had to restart in 2019 with no years of service. So I will be working towards this until, gosh, 2039 will be when I might get my name up on that wall. And again, building a legacy is more than just the Beldon family. It's more than just our team members. It's also the community. We strongly believe that giving back to the San Antonio community will further our efforts as a company. And San Antonio is the reason why we've been so successful for 76 years. So the past 3 years, starting in 2019, we started going pink in the month of October, and we donate a portion of the proceeds from our jobs that are sold during that month, and we donate it to the Susan G. Komen Foundation. And for the past three years, we have donated over $250,000 as a result of this effort. And this picture was obviously taken in 2019, or else we would be wearing masks. But this is our old training room, and these are our crews. And we've actually expanded this and turned this area into a training room where we're also working on training crews as a part of Beldon University, which is one of our digital technology, our digital revolution ideas that we've set forward, in which we're working on educating members of the San Antonio community and then inputting them into our workforce as well. So I do want to touch on being a woman in roofing. I think that it's something that is important to note. I started in this industry in 2019, and I was in the DFW area. I was by myself. In San Antonio, Beldon is more of a household name, and I'm very lucky to have my grandfather, my great-grandfather, my grandfather, and my father who preceded me in that market, who recognize the name and who know the reputation. I started off as a 23-year-old in the DFW market who knew nothing about roofing other than what I had learned during the summers when I worked at the family business when I was 12 through high school. But I just jumped into the industry, and National Women in Roofing is something that I really want to touch on because it's been such an important part of my journey in commercial roofing. National Women in Roofing has made it easy to connect with women in the roofing industry, especially in the DFW market. In 2020, women made up over half of the labor force, 57%. However, only 10.3% of that was women in construction. And even more so, women only made up 0.5% of the roofing industry. So that being said, there's a lot of room for growth in this industry. National Women in Roofing is a group of successful women in the roofing industry, and this being a part of this organization has allowed for us to attract and retain women. Because of this group, we are trying to act as a catalyst and lead change in our industry. Roofing really, it is gender neutral. And it's funny when I say that because based off the numbers that I previously stated, it doesn't seem that way. But believe it or not, women can get on roofs too. I get on roofs regularly. I have a pair of steel toe boots in my truck, and I climb up on the roofs with the guys, and I know just as much as they do because that's how you learn the industry. And women work in various fields in the roofing industry, and it's our responsibility to continue to grow and make it more so that more women want to join the industry as well. I'm biased, but it makes for a better industry for all involved. And I do want to talk, I touched on the digital revolution at Beldon. So I want to talk a lot about how technology is playing a role at not only at our company, but in commercial roofing in general. So I'll touch on LEAP. LEAP has played an integral part in our digitalization. It enabled us to create a dynamic proposal that was the same for all of our residential sales reps, no matter who was using it. And that consistency allowed us to continue to grow our residential sales team at a rapid rate. And we've been using LEAP since the very beginning. And it's been a great help to us at Beldon. It's really helped our residential sales guys. And this is just one of the ways that we've gone ahead and really paved the path for digitalization within the roofing industry. As far as things that we've done at Beldon, so technology is everywhere, including the construction industry. And my dad's motto is, if you don't embrace it, you'll be left behind. So we've been increasing our digital presence and trying to get off paper for the past 15 years. When I was there during the summer, is scanning paperwork. That was us inputting into digitalizing our previous records and keeping track of things, because we were moving away from paper. And if you're not doing it as a commercial roofing contractor, you're going to be left behind because your competitors are doing it. And everyone is moving quickly. Customers want a process that's similar to Amazon. They want it to be all available on their handheld device. And that's just very different from how the roofing industry started off. And it's evolved in the past, especially at our company, in the past 76 years. So I'm very lucky in that my dad is very innovative, and so was his father. And they've always been one step ahead when it comes to the next best thing for the roofing industry. We attend IRE, we attend trade shows where you're able to see those things. And it's really eye-opening in making sure that we are not only doing what our competitors are doing, but how do we do it? How do we do the next best thing? How do we make our jobs easier? And how do we make working with our customers an easier experience and a better experience for them? So when I started with the company when I was 12, we started iPad integration, and we were teaching sales reps who had been using paper calendars how to use iPads, how to use your phone, how to use Google Outlook, how do you put something in a calendar, how do you email a customer, how do you do it at the palm of your hand versus sending a letter or going to meet with them in person. How do we make it faster and more efficient? And I'm happy to say that this past year, we've been training our sales crews to use iPads. Everything we do at Beldon is digital. There is no paper. We're completely off paper. Our crews are out taking pictures on their iPads, and we're sending out reports to our customers that way at the same time, immediately. And there's no lag. It's rapid, and it's as efficient as you can be. And the customers are we've seen a lot of success with it. Our customers are very happy. It allows us to get feedback, and it allows for better open communication through that. When you're not doing things on paper and passing papers around, it's just been a change to our work model. And that being said, being in commercial roofing, residential roofing, home and siding, and we used to have multiple branches of Leaf Guard. Now we are just in the San Antonio market, but we were in 5 different CRMs 5 years ago, and it was nearly impossible. We have all these digital records. How do we get them to talk to each other? How do we get it to work together so that we have the best experience for our employees, and that there's a safety net to catch in case something falls? And having us in 5 different CRMs made that a very challenging obstacle for Beldon. And so 5 years ago, my dad started playing with Salesforce, and he developed a CRM on the Salesforce platform. We're now calling it Ozbee, that worked for us at Beldon as commercial contractors. And it allowed for us we migrated data from 5 different CRMs into Salesforce. And we use these, basically Salesforce is like Legos, and you can build out whatever you want. And so what we did was we hired developers to build exactly what we wanted. And my dad knew exactly what he wanted. He knew we needed lead generation, and we needed it to handle production as well. And then we needed to make sure that we were keeping score, because we needed to keep our employees accountable for what they were doing. And if there was an issue, we needed a safety net to catch it. And so he developed Ozbee, and we've been using it at Beldon for the past 3 years. When I started was actually when we rolled into Salesforce. And we've been using this to, as I said previously, I work in lead generation. So I use it on the day-to-day for generating leads and keeping track of when I need to follow up with my leads and what my next steps are. And then it goes to production when I sell a project, and it becomes their responsibility. That being said, I'm able to track it from lead to close through production, and I'm able to follow up with the customer as well. And this is just, it's a solution. Brad, my dad, was looking for a solution and he wasn't able to find something in the industry. So as a contractor, he made a CRM that works for contractors. And that's very similar to Leap's business model as well. Started by a contractor for contractors. We understand the issues and we know what we're looking for. And this is why we're now marketing Ozbee as a team software. So this is the product that we've been using at Beldon for 3 years. And now it's something that's available to all roofing contractors or all contractors. It's very customizable. It can be used in multiple different capacities. It doesn't have to just be roofing contractors, anyone in the construction industry. And it's been something that's been so successful for us at Beldon for the past 3 years that Brad decided to try and revolutionize the industry. Why would I not share this with my competitors if it's made our lives so much easier and the lives of our customers? We're trying to make this as a part of the Beldon digital revolution. We're trying to make this easily accessible for others. And we're trying to help people increase the longevity of their companies. I mean, as I said before, if you're not with it, you're going to get out. I get with it or get out when it comes to technology. And Ozbee is something that we're hoping will really help other roofing contractors as well when it comes to digitalizing and I mean, as I said before, technology is everywhere, and it's really becoming a part of the construction industry. And that is it for what I have to discuss with you guys. If y'all have any questions, I'm happy to answer anything. And if it's a question I don't know the answer to, I'm lucky that I can call somebody in the company and get an answer for y'all immediately.
Mackenzie, thank you so much. I think we all learned a lot there. So if you guys do have any questions, please throw them into the chat box or the Q&A box and we'll get to them. Just a few housekeeping things on our end. Today, as I mentioned before, today's webinar was brought to you by Leap, and thank you so much for the shout out, Mackenzie. As you guys heard from her directly, it has done some great things for Beldon Roofing and many companies across the country. So if you guys are interested in learning how Leap can help to make your lives easier and help you grow your business, we are offering a special promotion for those of you joining us today. So if you guys have a conversation with us, we'll send you a gift card for lunch so you can have lunch on Leap. And if we find that we are a good fit for each other, you can get up to $500 off your Leap subscription. So I'm going to go ahead and launch a poll for those of you right now who would like to get lunch on Leap and learn more about Leap. I'm just trying to see how many times I can say Leap in one breath in one sentence.
I can say Leap one more time. I did want to mention also that through Ozbee, we have Leap as a bolt-on. So it's already integrated through Ozbee. So if you're currently using Leap and you're interested in implementing Ozbee as your CRM, feel free to reach out to me as well.
Even more
That's how much we believe in Leap. We've added it on.
Perfect. And finally, one more quick note here. For those of you who may be in Dallas or have colleagues that are in Dallas at the Win the Storm event that is taking place right now, our team is there at booth 1206. So be sure you go and say hello to them. So just a couple quick questions that we have over here. Mackenzie, you spoke a lot about being a woman in roofing, and I think that was a very powerful message that you had to say about so many aspects of being a woman in roofing and in the construction industry. Could you speak a little bit more on being a woman in not just a male-dominated industry, but in your male-dominated family business, and the challenges that you guys may have is not just a family business, but also being one of the first and one of the few women working with your family members?
Sure. Well, I think that at Beldon, we might be somewhat of an anomaly compared to other roofing contractors across the country. Over half of our staff is women in the management level. So for me, it's never really been as male dominated at Beldon. And I think that there's a lot of respect for women at our company. and that's just something that I think comes down to how we run Beldon. It's really about integrity. That is our saying. Integrity is our family business. We treat each other like family. There has never been a time where I've felt that. And you know what? This might be why I've been able to be so confident in the Dallas market, is that comes back to growing up. My parents have always instilled in me and my siblings that we're all the same. You can do anything that you want to do that you set your mind to. I mean, I have a brother, I love him. But when it comes to succession, I might be taking over the family business. Sorry, Marshall, if you're on this call, because I have never been treated differently from my brother. My parents have always really instilled that if you want it, go get it kind of mindset. And that comes from my grandparents as well. My great grandfather, and that's the mentality that we have at Beldon. And I'm very, very lucky that is what it's like. I can ask anyone anything and they're not going to treat me differently as a woman at Beldon. That being said, it's different in the roofing industry. And I'm very lucky that I have guys who will help me if there are things I need help doing, or I don't know how to put up a ladder. I don't think that my dad would want me doing that, but there are pluses and minuses to being a woman in the industry. And a plus is, for example, I went to a roof walk one time. I was the only girl there. There were 50 people at the roof walk. I was the only woman there. And I was the only person they realized left. They thought something had happened to me. So I got called during the middle of the roof walk, and they were asking me where I was. So pluses and minuses. They wanted to know where I was. They remembered me. But the negative was that I had left the roof walk and they were calling me out for it. So I had to come back for it. But I think that there are a lot of resources and allies in the industry, and being a woman in construction, if you don't have strong male allies who are going to lift you up and help you, then I think that might be a barrier. But I've been very lucky in that my male allies have given me nothing but all the information that I need and all the tools I need to be successful.
That's awesome. That it does sound like you guys have a very unique company culture, which I loved hearing you share about what Beldon does, the culture that you guys have created, which I think is really important. Switching gears just a little bit about this digital revolution that you touched on a few times. I'm just curious, and this may be a really silly question, but you mentioned that Beldon is now completely off paper. I guess it's sort of a two-part question here. Do you have anyone that sort of pushes back on that paperless feeling? Because I know some people are very old school in that, but also have you guys found that to be a cost savings as well, being a paperless company? Is that, because now we're in this world of recycling and not, environmental changes and everything. So I'm just curious how you guys have seen an impact from that.
Sure. As far as cost savings, I'm not entirely sure how significant it's impacted our bottom line. Being off paper has more so affected our communication with our customers. We obviously had pushback. We've had it from our crews, but that's solved with a lot of training and making sure that the older gentlemen who have been working with Beldon for a very long time, who aren't as inept to technology, are paired with a younger gentleman who's able to help him understand, and they learn that way. And I think you learn best from your peers. And again, going back to making sure that if you're investing in your employees, they'll give back to you. What can we do to help you understand this? I mean, I live in Dallas and I've flown down to San Antonio quite a number of times in the past year to come in for a toolbox talk in the morning with our crews and make sure that they know what we're doing on the iPads and helping them. Basically, you have to take the paper that you've been using, that they've been using for so long, and show them the process on the iPad. And you have to compare them side by side, because once they understand it, they realize this is making my job easier. This is immediate. I don't have to turn in a sheet of paper to somebody at the end of the day. And once they understand that, there's buy-in. But it's making sure that they understand that and letting them know that that's the expectation for them. That's something that we have at Beldon. We will help you make sure that you get to this point, and we are happy to continue showing you training. How do we get you this point? Talk to us. How can we help you? But you need to be at this level. It's a baseline for everyone. And I think that that's why we've seen success with it.
That's fantastic. Well, that is all the questions that we have from here. Are there any parting words, final thoughts, hopes, dreams, aspirations, anything you want to share with the crew?
Gosh, this was fun. I'm just happy I got to speak with everyone. And if y'all have any follow-up questions, be it about a family business, working with your family, or being a woman in roofing, or trying to understand how to help women in roofing, or if it's about Ozbee, please shoot me an email. Kristen, is it possible to follow up with an email after this?
Yeah, we will.
Okay.
We will actually
I'll put
be.
my
That,
email
that was a
there.
great segue. Thank you. You're going to take my job from me next thing I know. So we will be shooting out an email with a copy of the recording. So if you were wanted to forward this to someone else, if you want to watch it again, because Mackenzie's presentation was just so fantastic, we need to watch it again. But we'll make sure that your contact information is in that email as well, so folks can get in touch with you, and then these folks can send it off to anyone else and share it with them. And other than that, we do invite you all to check out our website as well. There are tons of free resources on there, previous webinars, ebooks, marketing. Wow, my brain just went to a screechy halt. There's a lot of free resources there that we invite you to check out. But other than that, Mackenzie, we cannot thank you enough for being here today. It was an absolute pleasure to have you guys. Please be sure to join us next week for our next webinar, which is the blueprint for the future, building a successful and resilient company, which is another great segue from the family business into continuing to build a successful company. Mackenzie, again, thank you so much for being here, and everyone else have a wonderful afternoon, and we hope to see you next time.
Thank you, guys.